Thank you, Mr President, and thank you to the member for McIntyre for bringing the motion. I think it would be no surprise to members here that I'm very supportive of our role of scrutiny. It's one that is central, really, to the role of this place and the members in it. We've discussed it in depth of late under slightly different circumstances, but many of the aspects discussed at that time probably highly relevant here, and we've heard echoed here today. Broadly, I agree with comments that have been made that there are a range of methods that can be brought to bear in scrutiny, and they all play a really important role. In fact, they're quite complementary to each other. So while we may have available to us on this topic already the ability to ask questions through question time or to interrogate certain matters through GBEs and the like, inquiries are a really important way to drill down and to get detailed and comprehensive information discussed, presented, interrogated, and a matter of public record. So I'm very supportive of that role. And in this, I believe I've listened with interest to members' contributions, and I think the case is well made for many of the matters covered by the terms of reference to be looked at in that way, and to have that level of a comprehensive look and examination made of them. I think the member for McIntyre makes the case well for bringing this committee proposal for consideration to the chamber. Which brings us to the matter of timing, and it's been picked up on already by other members, and I'm just going to speak briefly about that. We did receive the letter from Taswater, and I took quite clearly from that a willingness and, in fact, a welcoming of scrutiny from that entity and a recognition of the value that it has. I noted the concerns that they raised, and to me they largely seem to relate to timing. So that, for me, is a major consideration here for us to be looking at too. I know that some members have spoken about the idea that although we're in the COVID-19 period still fairly squarely, we have to move on. We can't stop this kind of work. And in fact, members wouldn't be surprised to hear that I agree with that in a broad sense. In fact, in looking at a committee of inquiry as we did not long ago, that was really key in that discussion, the fact that we can continue important work in this place on important matters, particularly in regards to scrutiny. That's our job, we're here to do it. I find it puzzling that in the circumstances where we discussed that not 2 weeks ago, relating to providing scrutiny and assistance, really, to the matters that are occurring now in the context of COVID-19, Mr President, we weren't able to get full support around the idea that that was our appropriate role and we could take that forward. We weren't able to have the government agree that that could be a worthwhile contribution that could be undertaken by our parliament. That's a shame. I feel that to make an argument that we cannot undertake a fundamental part of our role on one matter that is directly relevant to the circumstances that are occurring at the time, and then not 2 weeks later make the argument that we can do that on a matter which is important but can be delayed beyond this time, is surprisingly inconsistent from some members here. And I'm disappointed about that retrospectively, and it gives me pause. I think we do need consistency here. I do firmly support our role for committees of inquiry and the scrutiny that provides, the ability it gives us to have matters on the public record, the contribution that can make to good governance. So I think this committee could be undertaken at a later date, as argued and presented by the member for Mersey and referred to by the member for Hobart. I will support it happening if it were that the committee is formed and decides to take timing into consideration in its activities as it goes forward, I think that would be thoughtful, and I think there'd be a willingness amongst the members to do that. I'd encourage them to do that. But I will support this committee because I'm consistent in my view that importance of scrutiny for us in this place is really paramount. And I hope that in future we can have a consistent approach to that on other matters too.
Question is that the motion be agreed to, although the Honourable Member for McIntyre in reply.
Thank you very much, Mr President, and I would like to sincerely thank all members for their contribution to the